Hey guys, what's going on? Banana156 here with another video. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, do all that stuff. And yeah, so in this video I am talking with my Slovakian friend again. In this discussion we mainly talk about fascism, Jimmy Dore, and electoral politics in like the US versus Slovakia. So I hope you guys all enjoy, and yeah, enjoy the video.
Bill 10? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello. So just okay, fine.
Okay,
You wanted to talk about fascism.
Yeah, I did want to talk about fascism.
Okay. I saw a video about Republicans or something. You had one about fascism.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay. I don't remember exactly what you found the correlation, but tell me, like, in I don't know, 3 sentences, what you consider the behavior that let you think those people, doesn't matter which one, but how you describe it or categorize it, because I think fascism is considered something else here, and just wanted to know in America.
Okay, so like the basic definition that I use for fascism is Umberto Eco's 14 points. And the Republicans hit like most, if not all of them, if I'm pretty sure.
Okay, what points? 14 points and what?
Umberto Eco.
Okay.
I thought it was the most like I thought it was the definition that described it in the most like described the most tendencies that fascists have.
It's more detailed or more first-hand than a regular definition in a book.
Yeah.
You think because of that? Okay.
Yeah, because like here the definitions like capitalism in decay, or I don't know. That's the only one I can think of right now. But
capitalism in decay. It has something to do with Eco, or you just
no, that's just another definition that's thrown around a lot.
Oh. And it correlates to fascism, like if the capitalism is going downhill? Or
Yeah.
What does it have to do with it? Okay.
Because,
wow.
if capitalism is in decay, that probably means there's strife in the working class, which means they're more susceptible to fascist propaganda.
They are more susceptible. I will correct this. They are more susceptible. I don't know how to say it, to extremes.
Yeah.
Communists or it was Germany in 1933. You chose either communists or Nazis.
Yeah.
So it's more like the more primitive, let's say, needs of people are revealed. Let's say if there is a crisis, that's normal. Okay. But I don't think it has to do with fascism. It can turn any way. It can turn to extreme in any case. I don't know, anarchy is another case that it can slip into.
Yeah, well, I was saying like that's not a definition that I use, but that's just one definition.
Okay, another one. Okay, get it.
Yeah,
because
like
I'm just okay. Continue.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just reading through those points.
Okay.
It's more focused when we talk about it. Let's say average Slovaks can agree this is fascism. It's mostly about power grabbing, but in the same time right wing, but in the same time nationalistic. And anything else is not considered fascism, because we always imagine just Second World War, let's say.
Yeah, well, I would say that the Republicans do power grabs and are decently nationalistic. They might not be ultra nationalist, but they're
because I always liked the nation in America, because I always thought like it's half liberals, half conservatives. Like you don't ever have the roots for all the people to come from, even as ideology, which I don't agree with, that you just have clean nation, we mixed next to each other, like we have like bordered other nation. But even if you want to have it, I think you need the nation as a whole to have something. Mostly it's based on identity and bloodlines and stuff like that. Again, it's ridiculous in today's age to have clean nation. But I like that in America. That's why I had always problem to see Republicans, let's say, in that way.
Yeah, well, like the nationalism is a little bit different here. Like if you like,
I don't get it. Like the nationalism and flag thing. Like flag doesn't that mean that much to us if we talk about nationalism. Continue.
Like but we like worship everything from like the founding fathers and the flag and other like things that like show like our freedom and like what America is supposed to be. Like we really like a lot of people really love that idea, and
But it's not
they think
based
that
on nation or like bloodline and ethnicity, let's say.
it's
Because
not. Or,
yeah.
well, it's not as much ethnicity because there's so many different ethnicities
Mhm.
here. But like a lot of the ethnicities fade away and they just become Americans.
Yeah.
And then they unite around like that idea of like we're the best nation in the world, we're the strongest, we're the best.
Yeah, and
You
try
know.
to compare it or forget the roots that you come from, or your parents or your grandparents, let's say. Like unify it in its new nation, let's say, those people. Doesn't matter where they come from. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because sometimes it's just, for me, it is shown in television and stuff. But in the same time, you have ex-soldiers who are very critical of the army and like openly say stuff.
Well,
And this is okay.
our military is actually like pretty decent or pretty liberal in the because most of the people like in most of the commanders in the military are pretty well educated and are actually like decently they're not all the way right, but like or not like right wing, but like they have better ideas than you probably think they would.
I just think that this would be something normal that you would expect. Like if you are a nationalist, you won't criticize, your commander in chief and stuff like that. But it's just expectation of regular people here. So this is not something that you should be ashamed of if you are a patriot, let's say.
Yeah, but like or at least when Donald Trump was in power, there was a lot of things where if you were like not necessarily criticizing him, but if you burned the flag, he said like that was treason and you should probably be deported for that.
Okay,
So that
most
was
countries in Europe, at least here, I don't know, in the world, have some rules, and you can go to jail or at least like have some public service for that. Like for example, I cannot imagine plates and I'm eating from Slovak flag, or you just have like blankets with flag on it. Like it's disrespectful, for example.
but just the extreme that he took it to, where you should be deported and you're a traitor to the nation, was just that seemed pretty like
He's on personal. He's very abusive on a personal level, which is you don't need it to make your point.
yeah.
But I think he knows his electorate, and he needs to, satisfy all the people, even the extremes. Plus, all the people he got more than I don't know how he was called, Republican candidate that lost to Obama.
Yeah, Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney lost
yeah.
quite a bit. He lost
So
by a
he
lot.
grabbed those known voters who were too extreme for Romney, even. So,
Well, a lot of the people that he grabbed were people that were just like basically apolitical, but they weren't doing well economically. And
non-voters, yeah.
so Trump really spoke to their like the struggles that they were having, and the Democrats at the time were saying that the economy is great because the GDP is up. So when you have someone else say that like, oh, this isn't like we need to drain the swamp and stuff like that, of course they're gonna like him,
Even though he lives inside the swamp his whole life, like in the same circles, let's say.
Yeah.
It was the same here. We had, if you want to be extreme in Slovakia, you just have like Roma situation in your belt, let's say.
Yeah.
As a weapon. And it was the same stuff, like 10%, 12% people just went from either all the parties or not voters, even like 50, 60 years old that never been voting because they were just apathetic. Apathetic? I don't know.
Or apathetic.
Apathetic, yeah. And so this was only motive, and they went once, they vote for them and not for any other election again. So this is the same, but it can go both ways, I guess, if people are struggling.
Well, that's how it was really here too, because a lot of the people here are very prone to populism. So like you had a lot of people that would like if Trump didn't win the Republican nomination, they'd vote for Bernie or vice versa, because they were the two
Bernie
populists.
and then for Trump, the same.
Yeah, because they're susceptible to populism and can't really tell the difference.
I just wanted to just change somehow the system of voting itself. Like sometimes I think many people, just legit normal people, voted for Trump just to change things a bit or just show middle finger. Just
Yeah, I think so too. And
disapprovement
that,
of the status quo, let's say.
yeah, but that's like the problem with the Democratic Party is they're just liberals and
Non-changing.
they're not going to change anything because
Yeah,
they already have what they want, so.
And they
And
try more to be in the middle to get those undecided than to have some ideology, let's say socialism or something, social democracy or something.
Yeah. And they always do that, how they always have like a conservative Democrat run like John Kerry or Joe Biden.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's just like in 2016 when Bernie almost won, that was pretty cool. And the squad's doing good, but
they should try at least. Like even if you lose, at least you tried, something else.
Yeah.
And the Medicare for all, come on, everybody wants that, even Republicans, like voters.
Yeah, well, most people want the policies that like Bernie would want, but then because he's a Democrat, they won't vote for him. Like it's just labels and everything, and it's just not cash money.
Divide and conquer, like that's the elite's mission.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult for you to like expel those politicians. That's like sad. Like we can just change the whole parliament within 4 years if we want.
Yeah, it is very hard because they have all the money and then they have just everything going in their favor, so it's really hard to run against them.
But the system is blocked to even like revive or change if the people want. Like the only thing is to group in as Americans to change the system for all of you, even on the right or on the left, because this is just how to say it, corporate feudalism, basically.
Yeah, it's like a corporatocracy almost.
Yeah. And I love, maybe I will send you maybe 1 or 2 videos of what I watched. One girl lives in Germany, I guess, and he was always thinking like, yeah, I needed to work more to have the dream that never was meant to be, because you need the corporation needs you to think like to work harder, and once it will come, and it will never come, but who is responsible? Like nobody gives a fuck. And since you are individual, you are responsible for yourself.
Yeah, well, that's like this main thing that's going on, especially with like the younger generation, is like the rise and grind mindset, where like, oh, if I work like 3 jobs and just work like 90 hours a week, I'll make it eventually. But then
isn't it changing now? Like, isn't young people like looking to foreign countries like you don't have to do it? Like
some young people are, but then there's other young people that are really dumb, and like, well, like a majority of them aren't very smart, or at least smart in the right ways. So they don't look at other countries, and they're very well because because our education system and our media is so centric on America. They don't know it. Yeah.
And once on your on the right, for example, you don't agree with liberal thinking and I know abortions and stuff, then your answer to everything is just do it yourself and don't ask for anything.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, you need to chill down. Like to come from those extremes, like it's kind of scary.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's just like the worst part is that we have 2 right-leaning parties. Like one is just centrist liberals, and then the others
it's just about cultural stuff. The difference in cultural stuff, but not economical.
Yeah, well, the economical differences aren't that much. They both will do the same thing economically. The main thing is like governmental wise. Like the Republicans just put out a bill making it a lot harder for poorer communities to get to places to vote. Like they made the voting places way more spread out and less of them.
Yeah, that's another thing. This is not changed on a year basis. We don't change it. You just have like basically on a map you have squares that have approximately the same population, and every 500 meters 500 meters you have a voting station, and it's always next to your house.
Yeah. Here everything is up to the government, and then when you have people who are borderlining on autocrats, they're going to take away voting stations and try and make it as hard as possible for people to vote.
And since it's not federal, then you can have like locally, local oligarchs or local politicians to influence. Okay, I thought this is something that should be federal, because that's voting for everybody for the president, let's say.
Yeah, federalism would be really good here, but that's another problem with the Democrats is they don't focus on local elections at all. Like they just don't care.
Yeah. I even can tell you, I'm watching 5 years your politics and news and stuff. No, it's like they're not lazy, they're just inactive. They're like okay with status quo. They don't need to fight for everything, for anything.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, it's just they're just incompetent, kind of. Like they're better than the Republicans, but they're just so stupid at how to at electoral politics. And then when they do get in office, they never end up doing anything because then they try to compromise with the Republicans. Unlike when Obama was in, he tried to compromise on Obamacare, and then by the time the bill was done, it was neutered.
It's because even Obama and Democrats are paid for this. Like they don't have to do it.
Yeah,
it's on purpose.
But the thing is that they're so bad at politics because Obama tried to compromise on them when he didn't have to, the bill was neutered by the time it was put into place.
Yeah, and this would never happen here. Like they are protecting the bill as much as they can, and if they have to compromise, then. But mostly, there is majority after election, which rules for 4 years, and they are doing whatever they have each party in their program, because there are always like 3-4 parties in a coalition to even govern. So mostly they're just talking like, yeah, we couldn't do it because like we need to cooperate with the other parties, and they didn't agree. But in the beginning what they agreed to and what's not, and what will be done, because we have like proclamation of government, and it's not non-binding, but you can smack them in the face what is written there, and basically that's a plan for 4 years. What we want to do, what are priorities, and then 90% of it is mostly done, because they would be ashamed because they wrote it themselves. And sometimes 10% don't go because I don't COVID, so we don't have money on culture, and it's always already closed. So use the money somewhere else. Like if you have logical explanation, it's fine to not fulfill some of it, but it should be. You have something like that, like plan for next 4 years.
Yeah, well, like whatever party is in power, they normally have like a ton of executive orders that they want done immediately that they already have written before they're elected. And they normally have a basic plan, but a lot of their promises they don't even attempt to fulfill on. Like Joe Biden said that he was going to increase the immigration cap, like how many immigrants we would accept, and then he just lowered it. So that's so.
What was the motive? For what?
For what?
No, because the corporation needs, I don't know, cheap labor. Why wouldn't they fulfill it? Or you need like more majority, or just one vote above, or how it works?
No, he could do it. He could do it with an executive order or with the Senate because they have a very minor majority. But the reason he said that he would was just because it was a big issue here, and he knew that he could get a lot of voters doing it.
Yeah, but the Congress doesn't have majority Democrats?
No, the Congress does, but the Senate is 50-50. But the vice president can vote for the Democrats, and she does most times. So it's 51-50, but a lot of things you need a supermajority to do, so it gets rough.
Okay. So we would just vote, even for one vote, you can still pass thing as you want. So we would do everything that this simple majority needed. And then yes, we cannot change constitution till supermajority, so mostly it's not changed.
So the only things that we can do simple majority on are like budget reconciliation, which is like a really broad thing that you can put almost any bill into. Like the COVID relief bill was in budget reconciliation.
Because you are changing the budget in this while it's running.
Yeah. But most things do require a supermajority, and it makes it almost impossible to do anything because the Senate is
That's
broken.
the thing. There are just small things you need supermajority. I know you can establish Medicare for all, like tomorrow with simple majority.
Yeah.
Don't need shit for that.
And the reason that
I'm sorry.
The reason that we need supermajority is because the filibuster exists, and the filibuster is just when someone talks for like 10 hours about something, and then you need a supermajority on that, and it's the worst. It's just the worst.
Okay, so because of that, it will never get passed, even though you have simple majority, and you can pass it with simple majority because somebody's talking too much.
Or you have to do a supermajority if it's a filibuster, but we could get rid of the filibuster with a simple majority. But there's two Democrats, Joe Manchin and Christine Sinemas, who just won't do it because they're Democrats in name only.
Yes. Okay. So you have. Okay. So you don't have majority. Okay. That's ridiculous. Well, it's always stuck.
Yeah, they vote the right way sometimes, but then, like on the $15 minimum wage, both of them voted to not have a $15 minimum wage, and they're holding up the infrastructure bill too, which is important because we have I'm pretty sure we have the worst infrastructure in the developed world, but I'm not sure.
I didn't know it because we just see it in movies and it's fine. Like, I don't know, but when I see regular streets on YouTube, for example, people living in America, yes, because it's too much concrete and your cities don't have enough money for all the infrastructure you built. We have more compact cities. We don't need to move that much. It's all concentrated mostly.
Yeah, that's cool. And our infrastructure just hasn't been updated in a long time. So like you have a lot of the roads failing and bridges collapsing and other stuff like that.
Yeah, it's more regular here. Like we don't like remake everything all the years. We don't build that much like new stuff. We still don't have so many, I don't know, highways as you do. Per square kilometer, let's say. But it's more regular, like every winter or every spring, the worst things are repaired, sometimes just for a few years, sometimes, I don't know, for long term, just general repairs, let's say.
Yeah.
But no, I never had like just bridge collapse and stuff like that. It happens when there is, I know, flood or where there is a side of the hill collapses because you don't know when it happens.
Yeah.
So but this is okay.
Or you go first.
No, just this. These extremes of like, we are driving on a bridge that can collapse at any time. Like John Oliver had episodes about infrastructure, and it's just not gonna go. It would be closed here, like till it's repaired. I'm sorry, and it will push the city to repair it because you just have your highway through your city closed. Deal with it. I mean,
yeah.
You cannot sacrifice, safety for this stuff. And the mayor, for example, would be, I don't know, just we would be laughing at him the whole time because, like, you destroy the city because you just.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's way more to vote out politicians, and you can have independent candidates. Like it's more competition.
Yeah. Oh, and another reason the Democrats don't do anything is if they do something that expends political capital, so they can't like use like I'm going to do that next election. Like a lot of them just like don't do it so they can say that they will next time.
Wait. What? Next election? Oh, say one thing.
Yeah, so like if you like do the thing now, that means that you can't use it as a campaign promise next election.
So make new promises. Like.
Yeah, well that's too hard.
Okay. Wow, I never heard of this logic even.
Well, that's decently common logic with like senators. It's less common with presidents though.
But you can use it for pictures and look at what I have done. Like if you are in office, the only thing you can present or the best thing you can do for next campaign is what you've done.
Yeah.
So what they like, okay, I promise you the same thing I failed to do last time, like is laughable.
Yeah, but logic doesn't work here. Like as long as you like
smile and wave on people and like be charismatic.
And make the other candidate look as bad as possible.
Yeah.
So it's almost like being the competition of the lesser of the two evils for both people.
And this is killing parties here. Once you don't have ideology, something you present yourself positively, and start to just attacking others. Yes, but I know he's idiot and he's politician and he's maybe corrupt, because all of them are to a certain extent, or at least evading taxes if they can. But it's normal in America, I guess.
Yeah.
Too. But this is something. I'm sorry, I just lost the line. I'm just thinking about so many things. Yeah, so everybody has ideology, and the Social Democrat that was for 12 years our last former prime minister. All the parties were like, yeah, but he's shitty and he's corrupted. Maybe he'll go to jail, by the way, in the next year. But we all knew that. But he gave us, I don't know, 13th, 14th retirement payment. I don't know, when you born a child till 3, because we didn't want to have people 10 children, because we have like Roma people that really have many children.
Yeah.
So you get one time, I don't know how many, few €100 just for being born, for example, for the mother, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Both even normal left, let's say. And all the politicians before were stealing shit, or I don't know, privatizing some companies for their friends, or stuff like that, or just not catching, for example, be stagnated. We will not catch a criminal because he's friend of the prime minister, let's say. So this was the thing, but it was individuals, let's say.
Yeah. Well, like both parties here do have an ideology. Like I would say the Republicans are very state capitalist bordering on like autocrats, but bordering. And the Democrats are liberals, but we already live in a pretty liberal country, so like they can't do anything else, really. So they have
So they have like trans stuff and like too much for regular people to handle even.
Yeah, well,
if they want to have something new.
Yeah, and they just have like they don't really have any economic policies because we already live in like the most neoliberal country. So like, what else could you do if you are
The
neoliberal?
socialism is their ideology, can be economical socialism, nothing else.
Yeah,
it's difficult here. It's different because liberals are right, libertarians basically. That's the right.
Yeah.
If you
Well,
want
the liberals here aren't libertarians either. They're decently authoritarian.
Okay, that's the thing. Like freedom in America, I can imagine a right-wing libertarian.
Yeah,
that's for me freedom, let's say. And even LGBTQ stuff. You go to these libertarians in Slovakia, there is one party, and they proclaim it, but in the same time they are like a capitalistic freedom market, freedom LGBT, freedom whatever goes.
Yeah. Well, like there is technically a libertarian party in the US, but it doesn't do anything because it's the third party. And for like the Democrats do decent stuff with the LGBT stuff and other social issues, but most of it's just symbolism, and they don't actually do anything to help those people.
Yeah, they don't care in the end. Yeah, if it passes or not. Yeah.
They did legalize gay marriage and stuff like that, which did help a lot. But like the Black Lives Matter stuff, they didn't do anything to help oppress Black people in this country at all. They just said Black Lives Matter, and that was it.
But if you pull the people from poverty or like make it not that separate, let's say you have like neighborhoods or stuff like that, as I understand, like you have different parts of that looked also different.
Yeah, well, like they would like separate the hood and then, because of the segregation in the early 1900s, the neighborhoods would be very divided between racial lines, and the black side would often be the much poorer side and have a lot less economic activity. And then once segregation laws got rid of those, the black people had nowhere else to go because they had no money to begin with, so they just ended up basically staying there. And then like a few of them got out, but it was like segregation without the law almost.
The main thing is mobility. Travel, I don't know, you don't have walkways like you have the cul-de-sacs and stuff, and it's all closed. Like there are pictures of like people trying to walk somewhere in America and it's next to each other, but you cannot because there was a wall or a house or something.
Yeah.
And this is the first thing you can do, because you cannot just move people from one side to the other like that. That's another totalitarian practice.
Yeah.
But to combine the communities, for example, yes, we have comic blocks. You have, I don't know, rich people here have, I don't know, two flats
Or we have
together.
like projects. Projects are kind of similar to commie blocks.
Yeah. But that was where the old people meet. Like you are still in society. You are within community that is not full of drugs. And mostly in every comic block, I don't know, the people who are on the edge of society is maybe like 5% in those comic blocks.
Yeah.
But you are
Well,
still in normal society. You are not like, ghettoed, let's say.
yeah. Well, the thing is that it's beneficial for the parties in power to keep it that way, because as long as it's like that, the working class will be divided between like white people and black people, or at least
Oh, yeah. So it's not about money, like, because you can get more taxes, and they, like, if they are not poor and they work, and instead of like doing crime, you spend less money on prisons. You have
Yeah.
taxes.
Yeah, but like, well, like especially the Republicans do this a lot with gerrymandering and redlining. But the idea is just to keep the working class as divided as possible, because
Mhm.
if there's a unified working class, they would most likely vote left because the left actually cares about them. So that would mean the end of the Republicans, and they'd lose all their power, and they don't want
Yeah,
that.
so totally opposite party would be socialistic, and in the same time not pushing liberal stuff on people who doesn't want to be liberal.
Yeah,
Because I think this should be on state level. The cultural stuff, LGBT and this stuff should be on a state level. Because you have more rural states like Montana, I guess, or more concentrated states. And in the same time, federal in the basic stuff. I cannot imagine regions here have like their own healthcare system.
yeah.
Even in Britain, you have one NHS.
So wait, uh, you said that states should handle like LGBT stuff and social issues.
Cultural, yeah, social and cultural stuff.
Okay. I don't know if I would. I don't like that very much, because
Okay.
because a lot of states are very like homophobic, racist, and all that stuff, because they have a mainly rural white population. Like Montana's better because they have like cities in the west, but like North Dakota and South Dakota are both very rural and don't have any minorities there at all, really.
Yeah.
So
So it would be
they
like
would
straight conservative, total. Yeah.
yeah, so they would like really oppress the small LGBT people that are there, and they would do probably horrible laws to them, which would
This is the thing. I don't think that, or I cannot imagine that. Like, you have rights like anyone else, so they wouldn't have gay marriages, for example.
yeah, they would probably get rid of that if it was allowed.
Yeah, it's not in Slovakia. People just travel to other country and do it other way. Like, because that's what I think. Like, the ideology of the state, let's say, will be conservative, no LGBTQ marriages. But in the same time, you have freedom to leave and go to other state. It's more like self-proclamation. It's the same with Slovakia. We know everybody can do abortions, just leave and go to Czechia or Netherlands. Go, I don't know, have marriage, and you can still be accepted, because then you can, let's say, Slovakize it, because you just had it in EU, so they just accept it. But Slovakia never support it, just by principle, just by showing we will not, like, I don't know, have it on the same level as regular marriage. You can have the
Yeah.
freedom, but in the
So
same
wait,
time proclaim something.
so wait, if you have like a gay marriage and like
Yeah,
you were from Slovakia, but then you
yeah,
like went to Czechia, got
yeah,
married, and then came
yeah,
back, would your
yeah.
marriage not be seen as equal to like a straight marriage?
Yes, it will be, but it's given to you by a foreign nation. So we are like we are not responsible for that. Like,
Yeah. So
moral sticking to God, let's say.
are there any benefits if you do get married? Like, are there like tax credits or something if you do get
Yeah.
married?
It's like, it's better. No, even in Czechia, it's not called even marriage. It's called registered partnership, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And in
Okay.
Slovakia, you cannot do shit. Like, we have it in constitution. There is only marriage, and it's one man, one woman. Period.
Yeah. Okay. I was just the reason that I like think that
Mm.
LGBT issues should be handled like on a national level here is because you do get like quite a bit of benefits if you are married here with like taxes and mainly just taxes, but there are a lot of benefits there. And I feel like if you leave it to the states, that could really disadvantage people who do get gay marriages because they won't get the same benefits that the other people do. And I
If
don't
you
think
wouldn't be
that
in EU, it would be the same in Slovakia. You wouldn't be able to have any relationship basically if you're gay, and you wouldn't get the benefits. You just would
yeah.
live together, and you cannot even adopt children. It's not possible.
Yeah,
You need to be married, or you need to have like spouse.
I think those things should be rights. So I feel like there should be like a thing protecting those rights. Like, yeah, you can get married to whoever you want and you can adopt children.
I think
Whether
we leave EU because I think in some centuries it will collapse anyway. I think we would adopt it to not discriminate exactly. It's basically keeping status quo from period where we didn't even think about LGBT. Like we never heard of it, I don't know, 40 years ago. So we just didn't change it. But since
Yeah.
there is like this loophole, like if you want to do something liberal, go to other countries. We are not restricting you, but we are not supporting it just to save face or show to international community what we stand for. That's just what we are now. But I think that would be changed. Like we don't want to restrict people from doing stuff. The adoption will be like not gonna go anytime soon. I don't think that. Oh, my cat is just folding my beer bottles. Yeah, so now people are just using it to just go abroad and do it, and all the conservative countries are just on a surface restricting it, but you cannot like restrict people to go to other EU country. And that's the stuff. You come with marriage with your boyfriend, and you are gay, and we
Yeah.
accept it because its marriage is the same equilibrium as our marriage in Slovakia. So we just exchange basically papers between countries. It's the same with education. Every major you study in any country has its code, and if it's accepted in the other country, they will just make you their own degree. Just
Okay. Yeah, okay, I see. So they just like exchange papers and then it's like the marriage is equal then even though it's from a different
yeah, because
state.
it was all the spouse relationships are equal under EU, so you need to accept it. And how do you achieve the one in your country? It's up to you.
Well, yeah, I feel like just like how like have like a federal law saying that all marriages are equal regardless of
Yeah, and the states
genders
will
of
restrict
partners.
marriages. Yeah, if
Yeah,
they
so
don't want gays to have marriage. Yeah, it works something like that. Yeah.
yeah, so just have a federal law protecting those rights and then the states have to
This is
have to
the
go by the
base I
federal law.
like about EU. They are putting like some standard that you cannot, even if you have like extremist government, you cannot go further with. But in
Yeah.
the same time, we'll never allow it to make. And I feel really bad if they think like it's normal to have all these liberal laws, and you should be ashamed of yourself. You are not that progressed enough, and you are like backwards thinking, and it's not about that. We know we can have it. We know, and we are accepting of those people. We just don't want to get along because we don't think that.
Okay.
I'll
So
not
wait,
pretend. Yeah.
so you think like those progressive issues are liberal? Like those are liberal thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like you don't care. It's LGBTQ rights in America are pushed on people to care. Like, give me attention. Here, it's more like we don't give a shit, and that's liberal.
Oh, okay. I see. Well, I wouldn't call those liberal. I would call those like well, I guess most liberals here are left leaning socially at least. But like like just I feel like it's more just like let people do whatever they want and it doesn't matter really. Like
Yeah, that's
I,
liberal. Yeah.
I
Okay,
guess
so you have
I
okay.
guess I
So,
am a libertarian socialist, so I guess I would.
yeah. Because there are I don't know people who are now 20 or 18 years old, and 1 in 100 is like your SJW with purple hair, let's say, in
Yeah.
Slovakia, and this is something that we don't even understand because for us the government caring about stuff and pushing you to do shit is either communists and like authoritarian, or fascist, or right or left extreme, where the government like taking care of everything, literally your life. And now you have people who want the same shit, but they want to have liberal and freedom in the same time. Like, it doesn't connect in our brains.
Well, like the SJWs, they are very annoying, but they just or at least the way I understand their views is they basically just want everyone to have as many rights as possible, and just have the government guarantee those rights, like it guarantees like other rights, like the freedom of speech or like freedom of press or something like that.
Okay, so be involved in everything, but on the liberal side.
Well, not really. I wouldn't call it being involved in everything, because I would think being involved in everything would be like, the state mandates employment and stuff like that. Like just like guaranteeing those rights to people. Like I wouldn't see it as any different than like the right to bear arms or something like that.
So they will be okay with that too?
Yeah.
With the gun. Okay.
Well, I think guns are fine. Just as long as like there's like you have to like go through like you have to get like a license to have one, like a driver's license. I think it's fine.
It's the same here. Like if you really want to have a gun, even if you don't have like work with it, you can. Yeah. It's expensive. It takes, I don't know, 1 year or something. You have to have all those tests. You need to have re-education. Let's say every 2 years or something, you need to go to a shooting range and like actively use it at least, just to not hurt yourself, basically.
Yeah.
But you are always followed. You have the passport. You need to have the gun in certain places. You need, like, everything is controlled. And people just don't use it because they don't need it. I don't know. I still cannot believe like how people can come to Europe and like Americans and tell me like, oh, it's so safe here. Like nothing's happened. Like there are just empty streets and you don't feel bothered. And I'm like, yeah, but empty streets shouldn't be scary. Like it's night, for example.
Yeah.
But I never had, like, even Berlin was like extreme for me, but still, I don't get the fear. I cannot imagine go out and fear something's gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, like some cities in the U.S. are better than others. Like I've been to Seattle and New York, and Seattle was like, it felt like I wasn't scared in Seattle, but in New York it was like, you never know. And
like we went, like, okay, continue.
Or you go first.
Let's say mixing of those communities in income communities. I'm not talking about black, white, and stuff like that. Just we have low income that live in outskirts of the cities, or I don't know, in America probably in the inner cities. And you have the better class. Okay, but it's all about income, and you can move up and down those, like, Latin, as Ben Shapiro says all the time. Like you can move up the ladder, but you have to have the opportunity. And if you live in non-ideal place, or that is, let's say, empty of businesses and there is high crime and stuff, public transportation. Everything is about movement. You don't need a car. You just get to work and you can move up the ladder.
Yeah, and public transportation is very important. And
key. That's the key.
Yeah. And like like in America, there's the economic mobility is really bad. Like I read a study not too long ago, and it said like if you're in the bottom 3 quintiles of the economic system, you are more likely to move down than you are up. And if you're in the bottom 2, there's like an 85% chance that you'll stay in those bottom 2.
It depends on education. Like for example, I'm now at home. I was changing like work and stuff like that, and basically I didn't save any money the first few months I worked even. So I'm still, let's say, I'm still on a zero. I don't have any debt. I'm just like on a zero, earning my first money. And I guess like even if you are fired from work, or for example COVID, I would start for some company in half a year and it will close because of COVID. It's not my fault. It's nothing happening. But you still can move.
Yeah, well, like move city, or move just around, or like move to a different city, or move just.
No, I mean move the ladder, like move your income. or change work, or change the city. But if you have public transportation, that's not a problem for poor people either. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, like here, the institutions are designed to like make, or like especially companies here, there isn't very much opportunity to get a promotion there, and then the work here that you would get, like if you were making your first money, is like McDonald's or like some department store or something like that, and you get paid like close to the minimum wage, and that's poverty wages here. So it's very hard to like move up because there's no opportunity to really.
But if you have like university degree, you don't go to McDonald's. I mean,
A lot of people do. A lot of people with a bachelor's do. I'm not sure exactly what the statistics were.
You have office jobs. Who is doing your office jobs?
Wait one sec. I want to find the exact statistics. Bachelor's.
I'm sorry. By the way, if we need to end in 10 minutes, there was second topic then. But look for it. But I can be longer.
I can go for a bit longer than 10 minutes.
Okay.
Percentage. Income. Semi-equivalent. Annual earning. So a bachelor's degree makes from 25 to 35 makes on average 50,000 a year, which is decently average.
Mm-hmm.
But it has been going down recently, and especially in the past couple years, it's gone down a bit because of COVID. So yeah, it's like
I just wouldn't imagine like you work with university degree. You still can have shitty job in the office, but I wouldn't imagine doing that.
Yeah.
Maybe like your universities are more prevalent, like you have more population percentage-wise to have degrees.
Yeah. Well, there's because there's so many universities here and there's so many people here. A lot more people are getting degrees, so it's taking a lot higher of a degree to get the same jobs that like a lower degree would get 40 years ago.
That's another thing. You mostly don't have like university required if it's really not necessary. For example, it's project manager or you are purchasing for IKEA. You need to have university degree to understand the supply chain and to change and negotiate the prices. Yeah. But in a job offer, you just have like end high school because they don't give a shit. And if you worked already 10 years in some warehouse and you know all the stuff, they don't need it. But 95% of cases, this will be occupied by a university student or graduate. And that's another thing. We don't have many majors that don't give you work. Like there are just few, and you have to really not give a fuck about what you studied to not get a work.
Yeah. Most of our majors are pretty good at giving work. Like I know a lot of people talk about like gender studies and say how that doesn't give you work.
Whatever, that's like small majority.
But if you actually look at the statistics, gender studies majors are actually like really highly employed and normally work for like they go somewhere in law or they work for marketing teams. So most of them are actually pretty well employed.
Okay. And the second topic was by the way, the fascism, I can agree to a certain extent. I just missing the national point because in those extremes of communism and fascism, let's say, you have all the working class united. And that's something I don't see in America.
Well, here it's not really about the working class. It's more about like, I wouldn't call it is working class, but it's more around, I wouldn't say race, but like the middle of the country versus the coast, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the coasts are like more liberal to left-leaning people, and then,
let's say.
Yeah, so it's like it's like more ideological, like conservatives versus liberals.
It's not national uprising, yeah, and a reviving of our greatness, but
Or
more.
they do talk about reviving of greatness a lot, actually.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah,
But,
make America great again.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and there was
There is
a
no
really
nationalism and ethnicity stuff, yeah, because you cannot do it in America.
yeah, and there was one really bad bill by Marjorie Taylor Greene that was talking about Anglo-Saxon architecture and a lot of Anglo-Saxon values, which was kind
Yeah,
of
it doesn't
scary to
make
hear
even
that
sense.
language. That was very eerie of somewhere in the 1930s, but
Anglo-Saxon principles. It's nice because we are taught that even during the socialism, like look at those imperialistic Western nation, they need to like subjugate others to work for them and stuff like that.
yeah.
So yeah, they couldn't erase it because our parents would tell us. So there are pretty many things to shit about capitalism still in our books today.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about Jimmy Dore a bit because I know
Yeah.
you kind of like
Okay.
him, right?
Okay. I watch almost every his video.
Okay. My problem with him is that I think he radicalizes people to the right more than he does to the left.
He radicalizes people on both sides, I guess. But yes, I can see his like yeah.
Because I was just looking through his videos and there's like a lot of I haven't watched them, but a lot of the titles are like Fauci's a liar,
Yeah.
and they could be construed as like leading people towards anti-vax, which is really
Mm,
bad in America because we
mm.
still haven't figured COVID out because we're stupid. So I feel,
Mainly,
and
you still have like restrictions and stuff.
yeah, well, we still have a ton of cases because no one got that because a lot of people didn't get vaccinated because
I
of
didn't, but I couldn't. But yeah,
yeah.
here probably who wanted to get vaccinated is vaccinated, but it's still not 100% people. But you cannot find those people, or they are missing, or stuff like that.
Yeah, but like but over there you handled COVID in the beginning better, right? Like you like
Yeah,
didn't
we
have
have
like
3 waves, but those 3 waves was like 1/10 of what you had.
yeah, because we didn't handle it well at all because the Republicans or Donald Trump in specific was really stupid and wanted to keep businesses open as long as he
Yeah,
could.
that's the thing. Money is always better than security and safety. Like that's
Yeah.
so ridiculous.
Yeah, but and another thing about Jimmy Dore is I haven't seen one of his videos that criticizes Republicans really. All of them are criticizing Democrats, and I feel like that would lead more people to going to the right.
Agree
Because
with
even
you, but I don't think it's on purpose. He's just hating liberal or left. He's for left voters who he wants to push to socialism instead of Democrats. And yes, at the same time, he's helping Trump basically.
yeah, I feel like but I feel like most people who or at least most people in the US aren't people that would go to socialism from him. I feel like a lot of them are reactionaries who would end up going the other way. You know,
Yeah, because
expect
it's easier to slip to Donald Trump because it's closer to what you know, and still you are like destroying the swamp, let's say, from your perspective. Than to go
yeah,
socialist, something you never experienced, you don't know what you're doing, or just beginning something you never had or cannot imagine to work in that environment. Let's say.
yeah, and like his videos criticizing Bernie about how he wants to go with Biden. Like the bills that he's with Biden on, like the infrastructure bill and the COVID relief bill,
Mhm.
were both pretty good bills. Like the infrastructure bill could have been better, but they're both good bills that should be passed. Like
Even
regardless
if
if a
it's got
liberal is
it,
doing it.
even if the infrastructure bill is gutted, like it doesn't have all the stuff it should have had,
Yeah,
you still would go with it.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah. Like I was like, or it should just be passed because like it. I feel
Still better than nothing. Yeah, sure.
yeah, it's better than nothing. And I don't know, just criticizing people over that is like that would drive people away from Bernie because Bernie's the one getting criticized, and then be like, well, Bernie's a Democrat, so why not go to the other side and be Republican?
Yes, I don't think it's on purpose. And I think Jimmy is too proud to like step down from what he's pushing. And in the same time, I guess he knows he cannot push whatever he wants, but makes people think outside the box to the left, or more to the left than Democrats.
Yeah, I see how you can see it that way, but I feel like he pushes more people to the right, and that's just my main problem with him.
Because he's negativistic towards left. He
Well,
doesn't because
or not left. I don't consider the Democrats left, but just
okay,
because.
whatever. He's against 90% of his videos is something like what Democrats failed to do for you, don't vote for them, and that's why he's promoting some third party or inviting Yang all the time and stuff like that. And he voted third party, like
Yeah,
and
but
yes,
that's
yeah, okay.
that's like the problem though, because if you voting third party is basically throwing your vote away here,
Yeah, I
and
get it. Yeah.
if you vote for and like that takes away votes from the Democrats, and if the Republicans get in, they were openly trying to get rid of our democracy right now, and that's like not good. So I feel like
The
because like,
Democrats?
or what did you say?
No, the Democrats or who like get rid of democracy? I mean, the Republicans or what?
Or the Republicans are trying to get rid of
Okay.
democracy.
Okay.
Because like if you look at like their voter bill, that massively restricted people's voting rights, and also like them still defending the January 6th thing, and a wing of the
That was
Republican
under the
Party.
belt. This would never happen here.
Yeah, and like a wing of the Republican Party saying that Trump should be reinstated in office like immediately.
That's treason. That's like jail time, mate.
Yeah, but like if like with the way Jimmy Dore does his content, he pushes more people to that side, which is dangerous because that gets rid of our democracy. But
Because
like,
he's purist. He wants. He's old. He knows he will die in 10, maybe 20 years. And I guess he
yeah,
doesn't want to just step anywhere anymore because he's so pissed. Like it. I feel sorry for him in a certain way because I know he thinks totally differently than it should be normal in America, or he's not capitalism. Social democracy. Bernie does it the best. Let's say he has the best platform. Sometimes he should be more. How to say that? When you want to just block something, to Democrats, to like let them know, like this is something we have to do, push it more.
Yeah, he does need to be more. I can't think of the word, but more like
Persistent.
do this now. Yeah, persistent. That's the word. But like I know Jimmy Dore probably is a social democrat if you define his ideology, and like probably doesn't think terrible things, but his actions, the way his content is structured and stuff, probably causes more people to go to the right than the left. And all I'm really concerned about is what he causes people to think, because he has a large platform. So I don't like, even if he thinks the right things, what his audience thinks is the most important thing.
Yes, but in the end, it has to be entertaining and it has to be clickbaity. He earns money on it. Like he doesn't have any job.
He has to be clickbaity, but like clickbaiting is not bad. But like you could clickbait the other way and talk about, I don't know, the Republicans being trying to get rid of your democracy. That would be a good title, or something like that. And like, and I don't know who's a good clickbaity left-leaning channel.
I'm okay. He's proposing or showing that. What do you think? Well, in politics, regular Washington politics, is socialism. It really isn't, and it really isn't. And even I think for the middle ground, like in Canada, you have still healthcare. Even you are right wing, you will not get rid of it. So this is the first step. And yes, in this sense, if you would imagine it as it is in Canada and Europe, where is the left right? Then to go just further a little bit left to be social democrat, that would be the best. But socialism and like with changing the whole system, even if we didn't change it and Sweden didn't change it, it's too much. Like you cannot ask Americans to do it, I guess. Like socialism is too much.
Well, I feel like socialism is a long way away, even in Europe and like Sweden and other social democratic countries. It's still a long way away.
Yeah. And socialism for me is also like you will not own business. Like fuck you, we will all do it by state hand. Again,
Yeah,
it
well,
doesn't have to be. China doesn't do it, but
socialism has a really bad rap here too. So, because of the Cold War, we don't like socialism because the other dominant power was socialist, or in quotations.
You can just give me a second because my cat just pooped and needs to get rid of it. Just a minute. People on the left should very consistently in unified definitions, distinct for anyone, even people on the left. This is socialism. This is social democracy. This is standard, let's say in Canada. To not make healthcare left, it's not left. It's normal sense.
Yeah, that would be.
And let's go from the center. This is wrong about our country. Let's say here are 100 other countries poorer than us. This is not working. In this sense, we cannot be extremely pro-capitalistic.
Yeah.
And no, this is not socialism. Even in Sweden, there is no socialism. Socialism is autocratic way more. You wouldn't have rights. We wouldn't sacrifice even left.
Well, I wouldn't call socialism autocratic. Socialism doesn't have to be.
Okay, it doesn't have to be, but in a sense, what freedoms you have and how much government don't influence your life, even in Europe, it's still far away from socialism.
Yeah, but the way that you say like socialism, you would have no rights under like from the way I see it.
I cannot have rights to make a profit. That's not questionable here. Even social democracies don't question that.
Yeah, well, but just I don't think making a profit is like a right though. Like just like having the right to do whatever you want, like go like I don't know, just be you with being free from like all of the things that capitalism brings on you, like having to worry about food.
Okay, because the money is not as important. That's why it's not that important to have a profit.
Yeah. And
you want to get rid of it at all? Money?
Or money eventually, but not anytime soon.
Oh, okay.
Thousands of years probably. I don't know.
Oh, okay, get it. Okay.
But like a socialist state could probably be like pretty libertarian if you wanted it to be. Like it could have direct like if we use America's system for example, like if you replace the Senate with direct democracy, for example,
or representatives of small communities, let's say.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, and then if you just change the traditional business structure to more of a worker co-op, then you would have almost collective owns in the means of production, and then just slowly decommodify things, and then you basically have socialism without any restriction of rights.
You don't have planned economy in the same time. You don't have planned economy. That's the difference. Because we had we owned everything basically because we didn't make profit. The companies just make stuff do and assets, not money.
Yeah.
But in the same time, it was planned by the Federal Bureau and Communist Party. So this is not something like you wanted to have the same economy as we did, but not governed by the central government.
Yeah, well, like have a market economy because markets are more efficient.
Okay. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but like have a market economy, but instead of having a hierarchical business structure, have the workers at the business own the business. So then the workers reap the benefits that the business produced.
Okay, and let's say leave small businesses, like you could have one owner of the whole
small
company.
business would be fine. leave small businesses, but then like the larger businesses like Amazon or something like that, their structure would be changed.
Yeah, when you are above some assets in money, let's say, you need to divide or something like that, antitrust laws or something like that, just more severe.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, because for me, it's like if you want to govern the economy, you need to have totality, let's say, or just to have somebody to tell you what to do. But you can, as you said, you can have market economy and in the same time not have the profits in mind, or you can have profit, but it's equally spread towards the workers of the company, not to everybody, but because in socialism, our socialism, it was more like give me every profit from every company and I will give it to any people I want, even undeserving, let's say.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they shouldn't get as much undeserving people, but they should still have like a house and food and all
that
the
was
essentials.
okay, but people just couldn't have more even if they did more, like you had the standard, but you had the standard even if you were excellent worker and earn way more money to the company. Nobody gave a shit. That's why people don't work as much, and it was like sometimes shitty, sometimes inefficient, but we still have it close the market. We didn't have competition from outside, so we had everything, even though it was kind of shittier, kind of more inefficient, but the basic was met. But there was no motive, so more people go drink beer and watch football instead of working out how to make something more efficient.
Yeah, I see. So also there needs to be more working or like protection for workers laws here.
Yeah, sure.
There's like there needs to I feel like they need to redefine full time, because a lot of companies here, they'll like, instead of like to work, you have to be full time if you work 40 hours.
Yeah.
But then a lot of companies will say, oh, you'll work 38 hours and you'll be almost full time, but you only work 38
I
hours.
get it. Yeah, Evan Edinger. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was talking about it was a beautiful episode about the servant wage or something, like you don't have even minimum wage for tipped workers or something like that.
Yeah.
This is so abusing of labor. My God, like this is made to abuse people, literally, to make work without because you don't have such a thing. Like there are very simple rules how you can be. That's the one thing. I have two topics. One can be another way, education about different ideologies in Slovakia and compare it to US. But now I just wanted to add two sentences. How we can be employed.
Yeah,
you have like 3 or 4 methods, and anything else is illegal work.
Yeah.
First is we call it brigade, but it doesn't mean any military stuff. It just means students' jobs, basically.
Yeah.
Few hours, I don't know, since you're 15.
Yeah.
You can still do it as an adult, but there is limits that you can do it maximum, I don't know, some 20 hours or 15 hours a week.
Yeah.
You don't pay taxes on it. It's all your money. You need to have like regular employment, like you need to have paper for it, but it's for free, basically work for the employer as well. And yeah, that's it. Then you have something like independent contractor, like you have, but it's regulated as well. If you don't want to have like business number, we have like an identification business number if you are like self-employed, but this doesn't apply for this. So basically I was working right after school. I went to do inventarization of the warehouse, like where is what, how many things there are and stuff like that. And I worked more because it's not brigade, it's something else. I will write it down to a slide, it will be better. So you can work as much as you want, but once you achieve, let's say, I don't know, $400 or $500 per month, you pay taxes, and you need to contribute to insurance and everything. The main thing is you are not bind to the employer, and you can quit anytime you want. This is why people do it. This is what I did after university. Because you can do more hours, which you cannot in brigade. You don't pay taxes and anything, but there is a limit on the income.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay. And plus, there is regular work full-time, yes. And then you have partial works. Let's say I do on a half a salary, or you just have two works, two employers, and 4 hours a day you are at one, and 4 hours a day the second one.
Yeah.
There is literally percentage of it. We call it like you work on 1.0. That's full time. Then 0.5, 0.2. I don't know if you have such a thing. And if you do, okay, continue.
Or I'm pretty sure we don't, but yeah.
Okay, so it's very simple. So if you don't have 1.0 employment, you have the partial one. But again, you have the same percentage. You just earn less money, so you pay just few dollars for your insurance. You pay just few dollars for unemployment benefits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's literally only a girl that is 15 don't pay these, labor. We call it odvody. Oh my gosh. Labor extractions, let's say we call it like that, and you don't even see the money. It just goes away before you get it.
Yeah, I see. So one problem with like workers or with restrictions on labor here is a lot of people like for Uber and stuff like that are considered independent contractors. Okay. So the company doesn't have to offer them any benefits, and because the government doesn't offer. Yeah, and the government doesn't offer them any benefits either, so they get no benefits at all.
To employment, you have all the social stuff connected to employer, not the government.
Yeah, that's
wrong.
Yeah, and a lot of more companies are moving more towards independent contractors, so they don't have to offer any benefits to anyone. So like you just have no healthcare, no anything, like no maternity leave, no paternity leave. That's like all up to you, and it's really terrible.
Okay, nobody would work like that here because you want the benefits. And if you would earn enough money, it would still go out of your pocket anyway. And if not, because you have to do it yourself. And if not, it's illegal. You go to jail or have debts towards government.
Yeah, but like here,
because there's no there is no incentive. There is no like punishment for not being insured.
Yeah. For like here, there's no other. There's like people have to work those jobs because there might not be another job in their area or something like that. And jobs are becoming more and more competitive, so it becomes harder and harder. So
it's the same here. Like if there are delivery services like Bolt Foods and stuff like that, or I don't know how you call it. I don't know, Uber Eats. Yeah,
Uber Eats or Grubhub or something.
So that's the same. It's independent contractor, everything. It just you count like, okay, do I have enough money for insurance? If not, I will be like outlawed. So you don't work it. But if you do, you pay for yourself because you have to. And people, I see people doing it full time, but they're like 5% of those drivers. Most of them have regular work and they work in the evenings for 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
Because it's easier. You have 15 at the once per month. You have the salary. You are insured, everything, and it's still better to have lower. Let's say earn $200 less, and to have chill down and have 40 hours a week, than to try and slightly more, have responsibility for your own insurance, make sure it will cost you less than you invested, and at the same time you need to repair the car. And all the delivery services are just shitting on you because you need to pay for brakes, for new car, for engine, and nobody's counting that when they are driving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and there is no other choice. Like you don't have like factory work and like producing. You're not manufacturing anymore, right?
Yeah.
That's sad because you have like low education and you still can work. I don't know, average, even above average.
Yeah, it's really tough.
I have a friend who is like earning more than me in my first job, and he's like making brakes. but you need to like know how to make steel, like proper steel and stuff like that. But you don't need education; you need practice for that. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have to go, or we gonna talk?
Yeah, I would kind of like to get some sleep now. But yeah, it was really awesome talking to you. I really like having these talks. They're really fun.
Me too. And I will make more slides because there are more things that are more complex. And when I start opening it, sometimes I forget to close it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So see you next weekend if you want. I don't care.
Yeah, or next weekend. I'll probably be able to do it Saturday night for me, so Sunday morning for you. Is that okay?
Okay, so like today. Now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's okay with me as well. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.
So that was the discussion, guys. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. It's really fun talking to him, and I hope you guys enjoy these videos because I feel like it gives an interesting perspective on the world that most Americans normally don't see. And if anyone else wants to come on and discuss, there's a link to my Discord and my channel and in my Twitter. So yeah, if you guys do want to discuss or debate me on something, do that. And yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, do all that stuff. And yeah, I will see you guys next week.